Hey there, all my friends. I'm excited you're back because I'm excited to be here on What the Hell Do I Know with JB. And today's episode is all about faith in action. Our guests have opened their hearts and home to foster children, mentored young people, and lived out their calling to serve quietly without seeking the spotlight. From raising kids with purpose to leading in the community, their story is one of compassion, resilience, and the power of saying yes when others are in need. So let's give a warm jabroni welcome to my friends, Casey and Jason Draughn.
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know with JB?
There it is, baby. And we're back. I'm so glad to have y'all. It's so good that you're here. And I can't wait to dive into your story. And people are going to hear your story and this foster story. And some of the people in our community, they know you. But you guys really do. Y'all serve with such great heart in the community. And everybody, and honestly, everybody I feel like in the community knows y'all. Y'all been here so long. I mean, y'all. I think Jason's as old as the water tower in Sandestin, or been here as long as the water tower in Sandestin.
1998.
1998. Hey, Casey, when did you come into this area?
2001.
So just right there behind each other. Y'all been here forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, 98. You're coming up on 30.
He's worked at Sandestin for 25 years.
28.
28.
My first job in this area, I applied at two places, the Hilton in Sandestin. And the Sandestin hired me. Never left.
Never left. Mm-hmm. It was probably for the better, you know. I mean, those Hilton folks, you never know about them people.
Right,
you know, I'm just kidding. They're great. They're great stuff. But I do want to introduce everybody to Floors.com studio. That's FLOOR.
Double Z.
Double Z, baby. Double Z. Floors.com is your one-stop shop for your next flooring or wall covering, remodel, or new build. So call them up. Well, actually, I don't think you call them. You know, the best thing to do is go to the website.
.com, yeah.
What you need to do is you need to type in first HTTPS.
Yeah.
Forward colon, like, comma.
Semicolon.
Yes, something. Then
That's not right.
www. Just do floors.com. FLOOR.com. Tell them Joe Boney sent you.
5% off.
They'll take good care of you.
Military, first responders, whatever.
They're great folks. Make sure you give them a buzz. But it is now time to play What the Hell Do I Know with Jason and Casey Draughn. So we'll do this. We're going to do this a little different. I normally will start with Jason and go to Casey. We're going to start with Casey and then go to Jason. So 7-question, rapid succession. There is no gotcha questions. You can pass if you need to. So Casey, I'm going to start with you, but you're going to have questions 1 through 4.
Okay.
Jason, I'm going to jump to you. You're going to go then 4 through 7. So you'll both get 4 questions, but here we go. Let's put the clock on. And there's the clock. There it is. All right.
I thought we had an EMP attack.
Yeah. Double checking. I just took some seconds away. All right. So what the hell do I know with Casey and Jason Draughn? Number 1, Casey, beach or mountains?
Beach.
Dogs or cats?
Dog.
Sweet tea or lemonade?
Neither.
All right. Book or podcast?
Book.
All right, perfect. Now, Jason, we're jumping you. Book or podcast?
Podcast.
Favorite season of the year?
Summer.
That's a lot to you, knowing what you got going on over there. That's a loaded season. Next one. One word friends would use to describe you.
Dependable? Come on.
Dependable.
I love it. I love it. Final question. Go-to comfort food.
I like mashed potatoes, green beans,
chips.
Chips. Yeah.
Yeah, chips. All right. So Casey had to throw it in. All right, you guys are off the hot seat.
Crawfish.
Hey, great job, y'all. Great job. Let's give them a round of applause. There you go. You're off the hot seat. No, that's good. So I did throw the one word friends used to describe you. That can usually get people because it's hard to say like. I'd be like knucklehead. Yeah.
Look at this guy.
What the hell does he know? So it is tough to try to give yourself an accolade, but it's great that you got it from Juice because you and Juice have known each other.
I've known Juice just as long as I've known Jason.
22 Since 2002, so 23 years.
True story.
Yeah, he told me you guys met at I didn't know this, but y'all met at Sandestin.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you were...
We worked together for 12 years. Yeah.
Right. Right. And you worked with Casey and you worked with Jason?
Yeah.
So Casey was HR. Casey was HR. And then...
so did she have to self-report?
Yeah, we were always in trouble, so we were in the office a lot.
No, I mean the relationship. Did she have to like self-report? Like she just like shove it under the desk. I mean, so you guys were Coldplay.
Oh, they hit it forever
before Coldplay happened.
Yeah.
Y'all were the Coldplay.
Well, they
before
weren't
Coldplay
married.
happened.
Also, you know, what I'm saying that kind of matters.
So Juice actually lived in housing, but then also worked for Casey, kind of on the side. Would do a lot of side stuff, picking up furniture.
I forgot about that.
Employee housing. Yeah.
He told me he had
Delivering
rent for free.
Free.
Yeah,
For 2
free
years
rent for like 2
and
years.
still didn't save a dime.
Nope.
Hey,
No profit.
lesson there, young people. If you get rent free, like pay the rent, but to yourself and put it away in savings.
Yeah. I mean, back then we were making like $5 an hour, you know. But yeah.
It's $10 podcast, man. Yeah. That's great. So he was telling me the whole story, but he's known you forever. And Jason, or Juice, I should say. We've got a lot of Jasons here. Jason,
Triple
Jason,
J.
Jason. So JB, Jason, Juice. You guys know how it goes. But I'm JB, and our guest today's Jason, and then of course Juice. But it was a popular name in the 70s.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Popular name in the 70s. The Greek god, of course, Jason the Greek god, and then of course the pillar of our faith, Jason, that saved Christians from destruction. And I mean, outside of Jesus, was certainly a monster character in the Bible. Yeah, for sure. Look forward to seeing him when I get to heaven and be like, hey, yo.
I'm a J, dude.
I'm a
What's
J
up?
too. But Juice was good enough to bring me a picture of when you were working way back when, and so let's see if Danielle can throw. There it is. There's the picture up on the screen. So this was a great picture of Glamour. When was that from?
That actually was in high school.
That's what he told me.
Yeah,
Was
it
that
was a
prom?
senior portrait, I'm
that
guessing.
was like, no, you know how you do City Hawkins dance?
No, I'm not from your time.
Where the girl-
evidently.
The girl invites the guy.
Invite you, and you had like a matching shirt. City Hawkins.
We didn't do this.
Oh, yeah.
That
So
was
that's what that was from.
Atlanta wasn't that way. I mean, y'all were kind of backwoods there in Louisiana.
Oh, they do that. They got a red dress run too.
Dance where the girl had to invite the guy, and it was you wore y'all matched
Okay,
to the dance.
great. Gotcha.
That was it.
So we were kind of wondering, that was your date on the other that was cut off from the picture, or was that your sister?
That was a date.
Okay, just
Should have trimmed it some more. No comment. Not from Casey though. I'll tell you
we
that.
have our ways.
Right.
I was looking literally through my photos to find a photo of you, just of whatever from the beach, and that was the only picture I had of you was that one. I was like, that'll work.
That'll work.
That's so good. Now you guys have, like I said, been here forever, and I want to dive in your story because some people will know your story and some people won't. They just see you out and know that you're taking care of all things in Sandestin. And Casey, I know you do a lot with nonprofits and charity. And where are you at now?
So now, since January, I am with my best friend in her nonprofit called
Okay.
Be Generous. And so it doesn't feel like a job because it's stuff I've been doing all along. But
Yeah.
now I have like an official title, an official role.
Okay.
And it's just an extension very much of what we were doing in our home with moms and their kids.
Oh, really?
So it's really
all right.
cool.
So I want to dive
it's
into
cool.
Be Generous a little bit here, and so remind me because I want to come back to it and have you a chance to talk about that charity. We have a lot of great charities in our
do.
area.
We really do.
It shows you there's a lot of need, but the one thing I like about this area is that there are a lot of folks trying to plug the holes. A lot of folks trying to plug those needs, and so this area doesn't feel like a passive area, which is good. And I'm very appreciative to live here in a place that cares about finding those blind spots and seeing how we can help. But you guys have both lived out your faith by taking in foster children. And I want to talk a little bit about that in bringing that in. What first stirred your kind of, to use a Christianese term, your calling into being a foster?
I can start off a little bit. Growing up, my grandmother did foster care, and then also, we would take in families, me and my mom and stuff like that. We're a single mom, and she would see a need, and she would, next thing you know, at Christmas, we had a whole other family with us, So growing up, we saw it. Casey, similar to you
Yeah,
as well.
I'm third generation as well. My grandparents and my parents.
So
Really?
we are currently living.
But I never.
Yeah.
It was never like this is what I'm going to do.
No, never thought about it. But we had a small house, our first house, 1,000 square feet in Niceville, and we had just prayed one day. It was like, hey, if we ever got a bigger house, what would we do with it? And we would do foster care. So we got a bigger house, and it actually had 5 bedrooms. So that same year, we at our church had foster care classes. We took the classes, and then next thing you know it,
You're fostering.
We're 50 kids later, like, ooh.
You
bigger house.
started early fostering
Yeah.
children then out of 1,000 square foot home.
Yep. When we moved, that's what we prayed. If we ever got a bigger house, we're going to use it for your glory.
Okay.
So we ended
So you
up
moved.
getting a
5-bedroom
five-bedroom
house. Okay.
And then just like that, foster care started.
And you had already started in the system, like identifying that you wanted to foster and
Never talked about it.
No, when we moved from Niceville to Santa Rosa Beach, we started going to Destiny Worship Center.
Okay.
And at the very beginning, they advertised, hey, we're going to host the classes to become licensed foster parents. And so we're like, all right, that's what we're going to do. And so then within a year of moving into that home is when we had kids. I was actually away the first weekend we had kids come in our home. Jason took them.
Really? Oh, wow.
Gotcha.
What's that first? What's it like? So for people listening out there that maybe have thought about this journey of foster parenting or have thought like I've got the space to do it, or maybe they feel something on their heart, but they're scared. They don't know because you don't know what you're bringing into your home. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the trauma that those children have gone through or whatever. And obviously that's the position you were in, but what would you tell that person? Like, what's it like when you first have those kids come in the home and dealing with those things?
I think what we did was we would always pray. We would get calls daily. Hey, we got this kid.
Really?
We have this kid.
Daily?
We have this kid.
Sometimes multiple calls.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
So we would pray and then, gives a sign, this is where we need to go. And then we'd also ask our sons. We had 2 boys at the time. We would tell them the situation. It's this kid, this old, this is what they're coming from. And then we would ask them as well, So it would be a whole family conversation. And then we would always have to say, well, we'll call you back. And then we would call them back and tell them yes or no. And God would put it on our heart or not.
So you've had times where you said no.
Absolutely.
We've said no more than we've said yes.
Really? Mm-hmm. And is that and it was all based on this open communication with your children? Mm-hmm. And would that when you did you take multiple foster kids at times?
Oh, yeah.
And so would you have once you have, let's say you have because you have 2 kids?
2,
Yeah,
2 boys.
2 boys, and then you have another foster child there. Let's say you've had in your home, and so would you involve that foster? They're not part of your home. Would you involve them in that conversation then, or was it really just more like kind of your core 4?
Katie, I think we would say, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There was times where we had 4 or 5 kids. I mean, we were maxed out. We were calling people.
Well,
for
one
bunk
time I think
beds.
we had 8 kids. It
8
was only
kids.
for one night though. But we had 8 kids.
But that's a lot.
But it wasn't.
long term. But yeah.
They'll tell you one thing, but very rarely does it ever play out that way.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Very rarely is the information they give you correct.
Really?
And it changes from day to day.
You mean the information the state gives?
State
gives. Correct.
Well, that
Correct.
checks
Correct.
out, right? I mean, that checks out.
Yeah.
And so I just want to echo, too, what Jason's saying, because God was so cool in that time because he knew we needed an answer immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it wasn't an answer you could think about for a week. Like, this child needed a home that day. So he was always so good to give us both the same time, like, yes, this is the one. No, this is not the one.
Right.
And even a lot of times we would say yes, and they would already have a place for the home. Or, I remember this one time, there were a couple girls, they were actually trafficked out of Miami, and we were going to take them in our home, but they actually walked out of the office, and they couldn't find them. They ran away before they could get to
So you don't know, I mean, and you kind of rely really on your faith in this,
You
it sounds
have
like,
to.
right?
You
and,
have
and,
to.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I think, somebody was telling me, I was praying about something the other day, and this guy was telling me, he said, well, you make sure you're not like the guy that God sent, the boat when his house was flooding, and then he sent the helicopter, and then
and he goes,
and he gets to heaven, he goes, well, why didn't you save me, God? And it's like, well, I sent you, all these things, right? And so sometimes you just have to be listening, and you know, to if you are praying for something, you kind of have to be. You have to be in tune with it. If you're praying with something, you got to be looking for what God's trying to tell you. Sometimes the answer can just be right in front of your face.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think during that time that we did foster care, I think we were very in tuned, more than any.
Yeah, we had to be.
Yeah.
Like, we had to be. There were literally nights and mornings on our bedroom floor, on our knees, like praying, because there was no way that we could get through it without God interceding.
Right.
How did this journey of fostering shape kind of, your family's journey? I mean, because, you have these two boys at home, which I think Tanner played lacrosse with my youngest.
Yep.
Now, he probably was like a senior maybe when he was
23 now.
Freshman. Yeah, so Jackson's 21, so he's a couple years ahead of Jackson for sure. But so you have these boys that have grown up, and how did it kind of shape their journey? I mean, what have you talked to them, and what do you see that might be different that comes out? Are they more accepting? Are they more closed off? Or, because you could go either way probably, right?
Oh, yeah.
They, allowing children to come into our home, allow God to teach them things that Jason and I never could have.
Interesting.
And it really allowed God to impart things in them again that we never could. The way that they are with other kids and with friends, they are very compassionate. They are very loyal, very including and kind. And they just amaze me sometimes at their compassion for others.
So it's almost like fostering was like a daily Sunday school lesson, maybe.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was because
It
it's
was a lesson.
messy.
Yeah.
It's messy, right?
Yeah.
And life
People are
is life is messy. And so what do you do in that mess? What do you do when it's hard? What do you do when you have kids like cursing you out?
It's the hardest thing, I think, for people of our faith, because in social media you can get the buzzwords, right? You can get the 2-second buzzwords. You can say, hey, live like this, do like this. But I'm always kind of like, until you step into life with somebody, because life's messy.
Absolutely.
Life's messy. You just got to be willing to step into it.
Yeah, I mean, we did everything wrong at the beginning. True story. I mean, I went into it, I was like, I'm going to treat them just like my kids, and you
Can't use your belt, man.
Yeah, I was like, you can't, because they didn't come from the same upbringing.
Interesting.
As
Very
my boys.
interesting.
So disciplining and all that has to look totally different. But at the beginning, I wasn't wired like that. It's like, this is how my kids are being raised. We're going to do the same with you.
And
What do
they
you
might have
think
been in
that-
that same situation
Yeah.
before, right?
Yeah.
Probably all of them.
Well, and there's a trust factor that your kids have that they don't have yet.
Right.
When was it that you realized that you were doing that
Oh, we
wrong?
were deep in it. I mean, I'm thinking about 3-4 years into it.
Really?
I was like, man, it kind of clicked to me. And then I was like, phew, we did that one wrong, Like, yeah.
We did, but what's so cool that I think of, remember Gage and Caleb. So they were two boys that we had at the beginning. They weren't the first, but they were at the beginning. And we did a lot of the, traditional parenting. And years later, the oldest one showed up at our doorstep. He was on a landscaping job or something with his dad in the neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Remembered where we lived and came and said hi and said, I want to get in stay in contact with you. So I thought, how cool is that, God? Like, we messed up, but yet he remembered us and wanted to be in our lives.
So maybe there
as
was like a
teenager.
safety still, like even though all of it was messy, even though in your eyes you felt like it wasn't, but there was probably less chaos than whatever he was used to,
100%,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Right. How long would somebody? So I mean, you've obviously shared that you had 8 kids at for one night, so it sounds like that was just a quick turnaround. And Danielle and I have a friend of ours that her husband worked for us. Well, he worked for us, but the pair of them were foster parents for a long time. And they talked about wanting to foster to adopt to a degree, but there were so many times where he said that almost every time somebody came to his house, they were buying like their first new pair of shoes for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Things of this.
A lot of first. I mean, first time eating whatever, this food, or first time
Sitting at the table. with
sitting
the
at a
meal.
table, going to the movie theater, first time going to the beach, fishing.
Birthday parties. We did a lot of first birthday parties.
Wow.
Dang.
You
Really?
never, yeah,
Like-
we're 13, but I've never had a birthday party. What?
And they were always within the
Wow.
first week. It was always immediate, like,
Wow.
oh, quick,
Right.
get some people, get some friends with kids the same age, and
Well, they wouldn't know anybody.
and they wouldn't know anybody.
So you're trying to throw a
We're
birthday
calling
party. It's always
kids
like the next week, right?
yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
So the kids are normally coming from somewhere outside of the area.
Yeah, so it first started, we're licensed for the whole state of Florida.
Okay.
No, circuit. So it's
Circuit,
Escambia,
circuit.
Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton.
Right.
Okay.
So we were getting
Okay.
calls from all over.
Yeah.
And so we had to stop at one point because we were getting daily calls and said, we got to narrow it down to just Walton County, this area.
Oh, so now it's just into Walton County.
So then that was a couple years into it. We realized, oh, we can't do this. So we narrowed it down to just,
Just,
Yeah.
just,
Just
Walton
Walton.
County, or maybe the south end of Okaloosa.
Right.
Because it bettered the children that way.
Well, they were closer to their natural family, right?
That-
Because that's the idea in fostering is that you're a safe place. Something's awry, something's happened.
Yes.
And you're just there. You're holding a safe
they get
place until they can reunite with
That's it.
a safe family
Right.
member. Might go back to their parents, might not, but a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle.
That's
something.
correct.
Okay.
So we had some kids from Pensacola. We're having to arrange visits and driving them there and stuff. And it was definitely, taxing on us.
Yeah. That's,
And the kids, too.
how long would somebody stay? Like your longest stay that you would have?
Years.
Years, really.
Yeah.
You've had some stay years.
Yeah, we've had
One
we had-
day, years.
Yeah,
Wow. And then everything in between.
Yeah, everything in between.
How many kids do you think came through your foster program?
so Tanner and I counted them up a couple years ago, and I want to say it was like 53, 52, right around in there.
That's huge.
Yeah,
I love that the heart, anybody that takes on children, whether it's adoption or foster and all of that, it's just, I feel like, in large part, I feel like it's so close to our Father's heart, so close to God's heart in the sense that I'm adopted into this family through the salvation of Jesus. And so it's so
True.
close to his heart, this family, this when you make somebody part of yours. And so I think that's just really amazing. We've had some it's weird how we've had a lot of adoption and foster stories. We had the
Yeah.
Fostics on not too long ago.
They probably know Corey.
Yeah, Corey and Hillary
yes,
were on.
Hillary's
and
one of
that
my
was great.
dearest, closest
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, so you would have a lot in common.
Yes,
there
we do.
with that story.
We
I'm
do.
sure.
I was with them at the very, very, very beginning where she just had this idea of adopting, and I remember having lunch with her, and I was like, "Are you sure about that?"
right. Get ready.
and I was like, "Are you sure?" And lo and behold, yeah.
Yeah, they've
It's
got a
beaut-
beautiful family
they
out of that
do.
for
Beautiful
sure,
story.
and it's an amazing stuff. One of the things that I know you guys do a lot in Destiny Worship Center. I know you outside of Destiny though in this Be Generous and other campaigns that you've been involved with, outside of even fostering. But much of what you've done has really been outside of having this fanfare. It's something that I've admired from afar. I met you years ago when in La Crosse, and you start to see you guys moving through the community behind the scenes doing stuff, and I've always admired that. I mean, why do you think it's important to serve quietly behind the scenes rather than seeking the limelight?
Well, I'm kind of keep to myself kind of guy, especially personal and home life. And so a lot of times when we bring in a new child, Casey would put it out to our friends, and they would, next thing you know, it's like groceries are showing up, and I'm like, why, what is all this about? Why are you telling people, But, people want to help. So
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I got two things I want to say. I'm going to speak on that because it was
Good.
beautiful how with every child that came in our home, God would bring different people in for that season. So it was like something that child had for those people, but also those people had something unique for that child. It was beautiful to
that's
watch.
cool.
It was really
Yeah.
cool. And it was so unique every time. And then going back to, why we do it in quiet is we don't do it for people.
I love
we
it.
do it like to please God. Like that's what he's asked us to do. And that's our heart's desire is to say yes to him. There's so much beauty when you say yes. It's hard. Like it was the hardest thing I think we've ever, by far the hardest thing we've ever
Yeah.
done. And the most heartbreaking thing we've ever done. But it's also the most beautiful thing that we've ever got to partake in.
Do you think it brought you two together closer throughout? I mean, because you
for
had
sure.
to, it seems like your communication skills had to like.
True.
That's the one thing I tell married people, because Danielle and I spent 10 years trying. I mean, we were high school sweethearts. I mean, 6 years, 7 years before we even got married. You know, she was 15, I was 17. You'd think you would know how to talk to somebody, but when you're immature, you don't know how to talk to nobody. You know, you shouldn't even, you should not have a microphone when you're 17, 18 years old. You know, and sorry, young people out there, I don't mean anything against you, but it's just like your frontal lobe hasn't closed yet. You know, you don't know what you're saying. But it took us forever to figure out how to communicate. But it seems like you guys early on, this forces you like you're either going to learn to communicate better or not, right? So
Absolutely. I mean, we had to.
Oh yeah,
Kinda be on the same
we've had a
page.
lot of counseling sessions.
Yeah, definitely.
counseling's good. I am
So good.
pro counseling.
I don't know what a counselor is. No.
One thing that we did do is if a child did leave, then we would do our family outing. Okay, so it's like we would go a short trip, a camping trip, or a little vacation, or a getaway, just me and her. We found out really soon that date nights were important. You got 8 kids at the house. We made it, a staple to go on date nights every Friday, and we still do that today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We do the same
Sounds
thing.
like somebody else I know.
Yeah. We've been doing that. I mean, I think our daughter was 5. I've said this on the show all the time. Best investment we have ever done is investing in each other. And again, early on, we realized communication wasn't. Even though you can be with somebody forever, but when you start to work with someone and you're raising children, and in your case fostering, you just throw in all the different things life hits at you. And there's times, especially when it's young kids, where you feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant, right? You just
Absolutely.
can't even breathe hardly.
Yeah, I can tell you how that feels. Bro, I got to actually probably leave here in a second. That was hers.
No, it's right, but you have to be intentional about your relationship. Danielle's so good about this because she recognized that when we're almost empty nested, y'all are pretty much empty nested now.
16-year-old, he's got.
Okay,
he's a
so you've
junior,
got
so yeah.
Okay, so ours is our youngest is 17. It's her senior year in high school, and so we will be empty nested in like 9 months, and I'm 8
No,
months.
she's
8
gonna
months,
do
28
college here,
days.
dude. Yeah, she's doing college locally.
No. She doesn't even want anywhere in Florida. She wants
she wants
right
to
now. It's
go.
like Utah, Arizona. We've had Nevada.
What did y'all do
We've
to her?
had, I know, right? UNC, South Carolina, Georgia. I mean, she's all over the place. But none
Georgia
of
sounds
this-
pretty good.
Georgia would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love it. But all of these schools are she literally said, I'm not choosing a school in Florida, and she wants to do psychology, so that's where she wants to go. So she's looking at those particular programs. But I mean, I think it's just she's the one that spent the most of her growing up here, and I think she just wants to get away and spread her wings. And
Yeah, now she's solo too, right? So you got a year or two with the brothers and sisters gone.
Yeah, I know. In fact, she told us her complaint here recently is that all of her brothers and sisters, when they came home on their breaks, had her, like, and Jackson would come home, Izzy and Soph were there. And then when, so forth. Now, though, she's recognizing that Jackson's going into the workforce next year. Isabella's pretty much going into the workforce now after she finished her cosmetology's coming up. And so then it's Soph's going like, well, when I go off to school and I come home, nobody's gonna be there.
Oh, yeah.
I said, well, Jackson spent his first few years without anybody here in the house too, and she's like, he don't even remember that.
Oh man.
So it is funny how they do that, but
Well, everybody be home for the holidays, but yeah.
yeah, no, it's fun, but we're almost but empty nested now. But Danielle. Back to our show, Danielle. We're just a $10 podcast, folks. You know me, it's ADD. You're going to get a little bit here.
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah.
Who's our guest?
But Danielle reminded me early on that we will not have our children, and when they're gone, we want to like each other.
Absolutely.
Right? We want to actually
Yes.
enjoy each other's time, and that date night has been so good.
At the beginning, I was like, man, we're like, look at this, it's going to cost us so much money. And she's like, it's worth the investment. And so now I don't, look at the menu, just sign the check and let's do it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, what's the next date night? I'm coming.
yeah. Kids eat free.
Fleming's.
Did y'all? That's the other question I have for you. Did you ever claim juice on your taxes?
I mean, they should have.
I mean, I used to cut his hair and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I used to.
Oh, my
it was
goodness.
Buzz.
Oh,
You
you
know.
was buzz cutting.
I think so. Yeah.
He wasn't doing anything crazy then.
Well, maybe I don't know. I did.
wrecked
I
his
went.
car.
You wrecked
he
his car?
rear-ended me one time.
Oh, yeah.
On purpose. It was not an accident.
We were racing down that.
In front of the outlets. Yeah.
That's great. So, I know that fostering you guys, it's been rewarding. It's been challenging, but aside from just what it's done in molding your kids and seeing that, I mean, what have been some of the most impactful lessons that the pair of you have learned in fostering?
Well, learned a lot. I'll tell you that. And one thing I liked most about it is to experience these kids first. First camping trip, first going to the Gulf of Mexico, first time fishing, first time eating dinner together as a family, because we did family dinners, and that's one of the things that's key at our house is we sit down at the table and eat dinner. We don't go, out to eat. We don't eat movie trays and watch TV. We have dinner, and so they love that, and we do, so experience there first. I think that was one of my blessings, that I got.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. I think one thing I learned was to be a voice for these kids, not be afraid to speak up, because I'm not usually one to speak up. But that became really important because sometimes I was the only voice speaking up for these kids.
Yeah.
They didn't have anybody speaking up for them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and where would they go to school? So if they were coming, even for a short time, 2-3 months, would they enroll in
So it was a whole
South Walton
process,
schools?
and Casey did a lot of that stuff. I would go to work, Sandustin, and so she's going to schools, enrolling them, taking them to doctor's appointments. They had to go get a full physical checked out every time. She's, a lot of times their teeth are all messed up, so we got a relationship with local dentists where we would go get, their teeth cavities taken care of. So her whole day, weeks, months, was just going to appointments and here and there.
They'd have therapy, and they'd have visits, and they'd have, you got to meet with the guardian ad litem, you got to meet with the caseworker, you got court appointments, you got,
Wow.
And I wanted to be at the court appointments because I wanted to hear firsthand what the judge would decide or what the judge would say. I didn't want to hear it secondhand.
So a full-time job right there. They would say, "Oh, what does your wife do?" "Oh, she stays at home." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But
Not
she was
really.
working.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned what that is recently. Yeah. Stay-at-home moms are very important.
That's right. That's right. That's
Definitely.
right.
I mean, that's amazing because I didn't even think about all of those visits you're talking about. And then, it's one thing to want the first for camping or a first birthday, but just like dental health.
Yeah, there was a lot of dental appointments, a lot of health appointments, because you think they've been neglected for so long. We took in a baby, and there was multiple siblings, but the oldest sibling, who was very young at the time, was the one in charge of taking care of the baby.
And what do they know?
Exactly. And the oldest has been neglected her whole life. So, there was a lot of neglect that way. So there was a lot of appointments. And Cody was such a good sport. He was always coming with me because I homeschooled him. So he would just always
It gave
tag
you the
along.
flexibility to
Yes.
be able to handle that. So it sounds
Yeah.
like if you were interested in being a foster parent, like taking these classes is the first step, right?
First step.
Getting started. Do they teach you all of this in the class?
You have to go to a lot of classes, and they actually have to come to your house,
Right.
inspect your house, make sure your water's not too hot, lock some medicine, and
Really?
I mean, it's
Okay.
it's a thing,
Oh, yeah.
So my garage is a mess, and they're like, well, I'm like, yeah, that stays locked. No, it doesn't stay locked. It's like so, but they'll come regularly and check, stop in and check on stuff. Yeah, stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But I mean, if if I'm going to be a foster parent, I'm going to have to go through these classes. But then what are the, like, if somebody's listening out there again, what would be like the top 3 things they need to prepare themselves for? That and maybe the fourth one is that you just can't prepare. But what would you say?
It's hard to prepare because every child is so radically different and comes from such crazy circumstances, and you don't know how they're going to respond to those circumstances. You don't know how that trauma is going to come out, because it's going to come out, and you don't know how it's going to come out. So it's really hard to prepare for it, but I would say make sure you have a really solid support system around you.
Good call.
Like
friends,
family, church, whatever that looks like, it's going to be essential, because you can't do it on your own. That first week is like a whirlwind of week, because you have all these immediate needs to take care of, and then you have all these that the caseworker needs, and it's a whirlwind. And just trying to allow the child to like feel safe and know that they're in a safe spot takes time, and so it's really attending to them. And
that's such great advice. So get a support system around. Should you have, like, even outside the close people you're talking to, does the state help you with counselors? Does the dentists, things like that, or do those just come along as you go, or should you get those in the front?
So the state does provide some, like in each category there are some. However, our experiences with them, they were not pleasant, they were not beneficial, and they were always a very far drive away. So there again, like we found this amazing therapist in Destin. And our church actually stepped in and paid for therapy for one of our teens.
Oh, that's cool.
Because she needed it. Like, she needed it.
Well, we all need it, but she really needed it.
And so, the state provides things. However, if you can make connections with people locally and people that you know and that you trust, it's just so much better.
So much better. Yeah. Good call.
And I would also say be flexible. That was probably another great lesson I learned, because you can have everything planned out, but just like in life, it can change. I mean, it changes. And
having enough flexibility in your own schedule so that you can be flexible, right?
Yes,
I mean, the fact that you were homeschooling was probably a blessing. And, and the ability to make all these different appointments and run around and do all that, and because if you were to work a 9 to 5, it'd be really hard if both of you were.
And there's some families that do it, and I'm just amazed by them. I'm amazed. I have a friend who's a single mom, and she took in her first child. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just amazed. But I'm like, you got to have that support system. You just have to, and they do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I would come home and I'm the fun guy, and we're like, just start having fun, and she's like, really? Like, I've been here struggling all day doing all this. I'm going, let's go to the beach, like, go to the pool, let's do something.
And so he's always like, more kids. That's easy.
Yeah, he is like the baby whisperer. We did Juice's baby shower, and I'll never forget. Somebody brought their child over, and we had a couple of.
It was Hudson, probably, right? Or was Brock?
No, I can't. Maybe it was Brock's. It might have been Brock's.
I think it was Adam.
Adam. Maybe it's Adam.
Reed.
He was.
It was Reed.
He was like just
chill.
I don't know. It was if my audience, we're going to date it because we got some young folks that don't know this one, but there was this old show, Crocodile Dundee. Do you remember that? You remember when Crocodile Dundee, when he gets out there? Yes. He looks at the dogs. He's like, and he kind of puts his fingers like a bull, and that dog just tweaks down and lays down. That's how you were with those.
Pretty much.
You are the baby whisperer.
They just calm down.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Jason, your work in Sandestin, I mean, you have been a leader for many. I mean, including our very own Juice at one time.
Yeah.
But
he's got young Brock now, though.
Young Brock.
He's still got
How do you approach mentorship in the workplace, and what does faith play a role in that? Or does faith play a role?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just leading by example. That's one of the things I do. I'm not sitting there just cracking the whip on people, but just showing up and listening, serving others, just my employees as well, just
servant leadership.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, because Juice, I say Jason, there are people in the world that do know him by Jason.
Yeah, most people.
They he talks though. I mean, y'all obviously you left an impression on him, and you left an impression on others. And it's just this again kind of silent leadership. Do you feel like where does that come from? Do you have that? Did your parents lead that way, or did you have a mentor?
I don't think
that
so.
led that
just being at St. Dustin so long, it's just forming that relationship with the person. I have a lot of young up and coming managers and stuff like that, and a lot of them are trying to just. They'll text their employees. I'm like, pick up a phone, call them, go meet them, go talk to them. It's like they don't want to have those interactions if it's a hard talk or something like that. But that's what's going to make you better is going through those trials and errors to build you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. You're totally right. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a secondary question I have, and just listening to you guys talk and the way that your faith permeates through how you want to approach people in your life. When did you guys come to your faith? Do you remember how old you were and maybe who told you about Jesus first?
So I'll go first. Yeah. So I grew up going to church in a home that went to church. So I always knew Jesus. I always loved him. So I think I knew him, became a Christian at a very young age. However, it wasn't until when I met Jason, I was very angry at God. I wanted nothing to do with God. I was very angry. I'd been hurt, deeply hurt. And
not for me.
What was his name? Follow-up question. What was his name?
Nobody's called you God.
What's his address?
It was not from Jason. But it was, and we had and Juice knows this, it was a long time before we became Jason and Casey.
Oh, yeah.
Casey.
Oh, I was there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Jason. She's here again, dude. She's here. She's looking from the deck.
It was a long time. It was a long friendship before we became together. And once we were together, we realized we want to start going to church. We want to bring Tanner to church. Mm-hmm. And that was really, for me, when Jesus and the faith came alive for me, at that moment. So, I don't know, early 20s, mid-20s, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, when you start a family, I used to smoke cigarettes, and then when Tanner was born, I quit that, and you change, and especially you start getting a family. We started going to church over in Niceville, and we were just doing the motions, going there. Really wasn't diving in. But it wasn't until I think we started really doing foster care. For me, I think we needed that.
Your faith came alive.
Yes.
When did you first hear about Jesus? Do you remember who told you about him?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, growing up, we were Pentecostal in my family, and so
snakes, no snakes.
Yeah, no snakes.
Okay, I always have to ask.
Slide out.
When I hear
They had
Pentecostal,
snakes
I want to
for sure.
know.
Yeah.
I want to know snakes or no snakes. What are we talking about here?
Oh, Louisiana? Come on now. They
Come
had
on.
alligators at least.
Yeah, they was holding alligators. They was holding gators.
Some crawfish.
Jesus.
Bless the Cajuns, the saints.
Growing up, looking at it like, what is going on? Yeah,
Sorry for all my friends
we should
out
have
there
some
that are
jambalaya.
Pentecostal.
Yeah.
We're just joking around. But if you're Pentecostal,
Growing up back then, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, growing up, going to church and stuff like that, but got away from it for a long time. So.
I mean, I think it's just an interesting, retrospective when you think about faith, and it comes back to our story a little bit. But for me, we have a lot of young people watching, and when they lean in, it's one of those things that I get it, right? Mm-hmm. I get as a young person when you get frustrated with Jesus. There's usually something. I always tell. I said this in a pod not too long ago, but there's usually some version of the faith that you've gotten. And it may have been a bad church experience version. It may have been a Christian that gave you a bad version. It may have been a family member at a Thanksgiving dinner that said something that they shouldn't have said, and you got this bad version of Jesus. And I totally understand walking away, but I always tell people if the resurrection happened, and then if Jesus came down to earth, that knows everything we've gone through, and then died on a cross, and then days later, he became alive. He was unalived and became alive. Mm-hmm. Lungs filled his air, right? Air filled his lungs.
Yeah.
Right.
if that happened, that's where your faith should be anchored to. Because if that happened, it changes everything. And so you should get over a bad interaction.
Oh, yeah.
You can get over a bad deal because if that happened, then your faith, don't leave your faith. And so if there's young people out there, I know you've probably experienced something that maybe it shook you at some point. You shook it. But don't, if you tether it to the resurrection, the rest is just noise.
Right.
And you just got to move.
And I think something else is we started going to small groups.
Those are always good. Sure.
My men's group and stuff like that. And then our men's group kind of talked to the wives, and Casey opened up our house, and it ended up being like 30 women showing up every Tuesday.
I mean, what kind of space are we talking about?
Yeah,
You've got 50 kids coming through here.
Right.
You've got, I mean,
it ain't that big, but
where they park.
But
we got the HOA. I got fined every week.
Did you really?
HOA, because they're parking on other people's grass and all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm out there.
No, Christians don't know how to park. We know that. We know that.
So we're getting fined. We're going in front of the board, and we're like, it's not a party, it's a church thing. Come on, And they're like,
saving
we don't care.
souls.
$250, and I'm
wow.
like, So
You didn't pay it, right? I wouldn't pay it.
I didn't pay it.
Heck yeah, you just throw that in the trash. Man. That's what I did with Sandestin.
HOA.
So, yeah, I mean, it-
Deputy
it's,
Dan,
commies.
whatever.
The small groups really, I mean, that's
Don't be a commie.
Don't be a commie. Yes, sir.
HOAs. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't know Jesus. We know that.
The people I've met from the HOA definitely don't know Jesus. All right, I'll say that right now.
And this is a perfect time for me to tell you about my friends over at True North Pest Control. That's truenorthpest.com. Got to check them out, man. They will take care of all your critters. They're everywhere you want to be, really, because they're Central Florida. They're the Emerald Coast and all over Georgia. So give them a buzz, tell them a jabroni sent you, and they will get rid of all them bad bugs you don't want in your house. True North Pest Control. They're your pest control superheroes. Now back to the show.
They're coming to my house Tuesday.
Are they?
Yep,
So
I got a
good.
Tuesday
Yeah, they are
appointment
good
for pest control. So
They really are good folks. They've been great sponsors, great friends of the show. So
Cool.
for sure, got to check them out. But now back to our questions. Casey, you mentioned being involved in Be Generous, and I know you guys have been involved in many charities across the Emerald Coast, and we've talked about how charitable our community is. But tell us a little, because in the break you were telling us a little bit about Be Generous, and I was fascinated by what you're doing, and I know it got a connection to our friend Jared Carty, who was on the show earlier this season with Safe in the Panhandle. So can you tell us a little bit what goes on with Be Generous?
Yeah, so let me give a little backstory with it. So the founder is Stephanie McMinn, and she's my best friend. They moved in literally next door to us.
By the way, that you just said that like, step brothers.
it's literally my best friend. Are we
She's my
best
best
friends
friends.
now?
So much room to play.
Oh man, so much more room for activity.
She was excited about that.
It's a Catalina wine mixer.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
It is.
Such a good movie. So we met them.
Your best friend, gotcha.
Yep. When Cody was 3 and her baby London was 2. So 14 years ago, we met them. I can't even count.
That's okay.
A long time ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, you're from North.
Yeah, you're from Minnesota.
That's right. That's right.
Checks out.
Don't count.
So she is doing Be Generous, and she is taking in women coming from addiction or trafficking, and this time she's taking them into her home because we don't have the safe homes yet.
Wow.
So she's doing that, and Jason and I are taking in the babies.
Ooh,
So it was like,
Smoke.
it was
Neighbors. I mean, literally neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was really cool. We were next door neighbors.
Wow.
I don't even know how long. 8 years, 9 years.
I mean, but when you take in, so it's one thing to now, you guys may correct me, but it's one thing to take in children in your home, and maybe there are family members that would give you death threats. I just feel like when you take somebody that they feel like they're property.
we did have death threats.
But I feel like she probably got them too, because when you take in somebody that they feel like is their property,
Yeah.
I mean, she probably got stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
Wow.
yeah, so she's doing that in her home. We're taking in babies in our home, and it since has grown to we now have 2 safe homes on the north end of the county. And when I say safe homes, they're it's a 24-month program that we offer to the ladies that we take in, and they're local women that we take in from addiction and or trafficking. Sometimes it's both. And so we have the 2 safe homes. And I waited patiently when our foster care door closed in 2020. I waited patiently for God to say, okay, this is what you can do now. And we talked about it and we dreamt about it. And it was this January I finally got to come on board in official manner, because I always knew when we did foster care, while the state, in our opinion, would do a good job of removing children from unsafe homes, that was where it ended. We saw a lot of things that were not beneficial for the children happen over and over and over again. We had children in our home that did come up for adoption, and God never called us to adopt them. We had children that aged out of foster care. We had children that went back to families. That was not always a pleasant thing. And we had a few, very few, that went back to good homes. And so we always were like, God, what can we do differently? And
That's
so
got to be heartbreaking too, by the way, when you've taken care of these children. You were sharing with us that you've got these dental visits, these doctor's visits. I mean, you're going to all these things, all this effort in there. And again, I hope that, I'm sure because Jesus is Jesus, that you were able to pass along some incredible amount of grace and love to these children. But it had to be heartbreaking to see them go back into what you describe as not always the safest space for them, not always space is good for them.
It was the most heartbreaking. They're both different, because one was DJ and Rara.
Yeah.
That one we had hours notice. We had to go get them out of school. We had to pack up all their stuff, and Jason had to. The judge ordered it. They were out of Pensacola, and I think that was the last time we said we would do children out of Pensacola because it didn't benefit them. And Jason graciously offered to bring the children to go meet the grandparents. I'll let you tell the rest.
Yeah, I mean, we pull up to a designated area parking lot at a restaurant or something like that, and as soon as the boys saw which grandparents it was, because I didn't know, I was like, grandparents, and then they jumped in the back of the car on the ground and was
trying
like,
to hide.
And literally, they had to pull them out of the vehicle, and they did not want to go with that set of grandparents. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the few sibling sets that we've never heard from since. A lot of them we get to hear from.
Yeah, we
which is
keep
really
in check.
cool.
I mean, we have foster daughters that live down the street from us, walked them down the aisle. They come over for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, you've walked them down the aisle?
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Go on vacations with them. There's another foster daughter of ours that lives in Defuniak that came over for Thanksgiving, has this nice little son, and we're
Love it on people.
We're grandparents,
Love it on people in the name of Jesus. Yeah.
We have a group of girls that they live in Milton, and we pick them up and take them to the beach or spend a weekend or go rent a condo with them and have fun with them. And so we keep in touch with a lot of the kids still and try to keep those relationships going,
I mean, you were sounds like a bright, shining light in their eyes at a point in their time where it felt like nobody cared. That's got to be really powerful for children, and that's amazing. And I love the work that you're doing at Be Generous, where you're bringing in these women that also have been, really put aside and treated like, garbage.
Yeah.
And
they're forgotten ones along with these children. And so it was cool that God was giving me the go-ahead, because we felt like it was going upstream in a sense, where we could help these moms get themselves healthy and get themselves whole and give them the space to do that, and then also the space to be reunited with their children and learn how to have healthy children, healthy relationships as a family together in this environment. So it's really, really cool to be upstream in a sense, and hopefully not see as many children come into the system is my hope. Would be really cool.
Well, in some place you've got to break sometimes this cycle, right? Because that's what's happening is where you might have taking a foster kid because the parent did get into drugs, or maybe they were trafficked and the grandparent can't handle them, or whatever it is. You have certain things happening, and it was all this broken home, and then they're in a broken home, and are they going to perpetuate the cycle? How do we, how do you stop that from happening? And so you've got to hit it, I guess, at all angles.
Yeah. It's so beautiful at Be Generous. I think what makes Be Generous different is, so like I said, it's 24 months that the women get to stay, and we give them a lot of space to rediscover their identity, right? Because that's what it's all about, your identity. You're a daughter of Christ. Once you know that, I mean, that just begins the healing process.
That's got to be hard to learn, because that's not what you're told,
yes,
right?
yes.
So it sounds easy to me sitting in this chair today, because I knew Jesus when I was 5 years old.
Right.
It's easy to me to say, I'm a son of the Most High, or whatever Christian term you want to say, but they've seen the world, and the ugliest side of the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, living with them might have been the best part of their life.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So how do you? Yeah, because that's the hard thing is when I asked you guys earlier, like how you guys knew Jesus, but that's got to be hard for whether it's a foster kid or in this Be Generous, when you're working with people that have had the trauma thrown at them. How hard is it then for them to because I just feel like I've worked with people myself that have been in addiction throes, and you talk about Jesus, it's like, man, I ain't got no time for that guy.
It's really about giving them space so they can encounter him. Because that's his daughter. He created her, or this child that we brought around. He created that child. He knows that child or that woman far better than we ever could. He knows exactly where they're hurting or what their need. And so it's really just kind of giving them that space, that safe space, and just loving them through it, and kind of helping them. Because a lot of times, they get in their mind. And so just kind of helping them navigate those thoughts and stuff like that. And we still experience that with, kids that were in our home, still navigating, still kind of directing and loving them, because we all make mistakes. We all mess up. Life is messy.
Yeah.
Loving them through that.
100%.
So I got a quick story. So, when we had all the kids, we never missed church. And not because we wanted to go see and praise Jesus, is because they had daycare. Yeah, childcare. All right. And on Destiny,
true story.
That was date night, huh? Or date day.
No,
Day.
Destiny, back in the day, on Saturdays, they had a meal before service on Saturdays. So
yes.
Casey didn't have to cook.
Oh,
we brought the kids,
wow.
we dropped them off at the daycare. The church. Boom, we're in there just, this is nice.
You probably should have told that story. I don't know.
Destiny just lost 10 grand.
They actually might have got a lot more people to start going there. Wait, Saturday nights? What time?
Yeah, there you go.
So you would go there all the time, and they would just, Well, did you have any kids kicking and going like, I don't want to go to church?
No,
they all wanted to go.
Loved
They
it.
loved it.
And
Places a lot of times like a Destiny and some of these churches, they do. They a lot of times they do a great job of making kids want to be there. I mean, I get hard sometimes on churches in general, and sometimes mega churches, because quite frankly, I mean, I did a whole pod not too long ago that was all on the religion business, and it was all about how you got guys getting airplanes and living in incredible mansions, and we've got you got billions of dollars raised by the local church, the churches in America, and yet 6% of it sometimes goes to outreach, and you think, what are we doing? I mean, we're feeding an animal to turn lights on. Saying all that, I get it that America is a tough spot to hold church in, and sometimes if you don't have lights and cameras and all this, the American culture, I mean 2.7 seconds, you're competing with a lot for attention. So how do you get attention? And so sometimes churches can leverage that to do a great job for kids. Or, my daughter is attending right now one of the largest churches in America in Atlanta at North Point. And, she wasn't attending church before that.
Right.
And they've created a space that makes her lean into her faith.
Right.
And so I can get mad at it, and I can see all the issues that I want at it. But at the same time, if there's a way to lean into faith, that's always like,
absolutely.
I think it's better to lean into faith than to not lean into faith.
Yeah.
If given the two choices.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, Casey had mentioned our support system. Destiny helped us out a lot with stuff, and Even Sandestin, they had the Foundation for Kids. And there was many times when I would go to the boss and be like, hey, I have this needs, and literally would write a check for $5,000 and then go buy them all the Christmas presents.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And you and Danielle helped one year for Christmas.
We did.
too.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
No,
You
it's
sure
our
did.
it's our pleasure. I mean, you didn't have to mention all that. I mean, it's a $10 podcast. But I loved seeing I mean, I don't know that I had the fortitude to adopt children, foster or whatever.
Right.
But I help you.
Yeah. That's the thing. Hey, you don't have to foster, but help someone or help, whatever.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. That's actually a really good point.
It's vital. Like,
Yeah.
we had
couldn't
people
have
bring meals. That was essential because that first week, I can't think. It is just, I can't put into words what the
Clothes.
first week is like.
Well,
Yeah.
Casey, is there a local Facebook page or something for that type of situation where somebody that does want to help but doesn't know how to or doesn't know anybody?
Not really.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say to that, there is a group in Walton County. I helped get it started, Purpose 127, and they help foster parents in Walton County. But
Okay.
the best way is just, and it's hard to meet a foster family, right? Because
Yeah.
they're like in the dirt of it, like they're in the midst of it, like in the trenches. I wish there was a better way
Yeah.
to connect. I really do.
It's
But
one of those things we've got to figure out.
There might be,
It's gotta
something we
be-
got to
maybe
figure
it's something to figure out. I don't know. Something that I'd like to see the churches continue to do, because sometimes it's good to. So, again, I have this love-hate with churches in general, but I did a church, and so it's just my own issues. But the one thing that I'd like to see us do is a better job from cradle to grave. Like young people, especially at today's age, it's a hot topic, abortion and this and the other. And so you have people choosing, not to get too political, but you have people choose. I've got like all these gnats flying around here today.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on?
They need True North. That obviously
I need
hadn't
True North to come
been in
into
a
this
while.
studio and clean it up.
Dude, they're
I've been
bad,
like,
right?
What the heck's
well, it's
going on?
August,
They do.
all
it
the
is-
stuff's
it is
really
the
bad
heat,
right now.
Humidity,
Yeah.
But True North has not been in here. In a
No,
second,
no.
So this is not on this.
I shot a house the other day that there's like a million of them there, so
Yeah.
they're out.
But it is a hot topic right now because it's easy to say like anti or pro life or anti this. It's all and it's these taglines and all that. And we had a conversation the other day and with a young person. It was just kind of like total pro, kind of it's my body, my choice sort of thing. And I was like, listen, I understand the problem here. I mean, because it's but when do you say it's okay? Like when do you say, when is life starting? You got all these big questions that you have to ask, and we need to be able to have conversations about them. Mm-hmm. But one of the things though sometimes is the church can easily say, I'm pro-life. Well, let's be about it, and so we should have better. I really feel like the church should lean in more into how do we support foster better? How do we support adoption better? How do we create these resources that are for people? Because if we want these babies to be born, they ain't always born in the right. You know what I mean? And we've got to be able to take care of it from cradle to grave.
And that's what I love about being able to be part of Be Generous in more of a capacity right now, because we really get to help these parents out.
That's great.
Like we really get to
giving
make a
them
difference.
resources to be a better parent,
So
a
this
sober parent.
So since I've officially been with them, so my very first day, it was such a beautiful day because one of the girls that used to live in our home got out of jail that very day and came to live in one of our homes that day. And it was a beautiful day, not just for her, but
one of
also
our foster daughters
Wow.
was foster care with us.
Yeah.
Who actually ended up in jail.
Okay.
She's an adult now.
Yeah.
And then was able to go into Be Generous.
Yeah, and live in one of her homes. She's now her mom is fighting cancer, so she's now at home taking care of her. But it was beautiful just to bring her in and give her that space to heal. It was really beautiful. I forgot where I was going with that, but
Well, just that you've been able to help these girls figure out how to be better parents,
Yes.
like how to take
Yes.
care of their kids, how to
yes.
stop break this cycle.
Yes.
Like, we want to have, you're going to have kids, but how do we help you, like, again, cradle to grave?
yes, and that's another girl that we have that lived with us. It was God's pretty funny. So we never said we wanted to have teenagers, and at one point we had 2 teenage girls living with us, not related at all. It was
Wow.
pretty wild. But one of the girls who now has the 5-year-old son,
Did they also have a lobotomy like every other teenage girl at the same time?
Yeah, 13-year-old girls are probably about the worst, I would imagine. I'll find out, I guess, soon enough.
you
but
will.
Yeah,
Yes, you will.
Yeah, you will.
I've seen, nieces and all that. Like,
Just you wait.
yeah.
Everything you said, I will
Nah,
never
man,
do that. Yeah.
Mine's going to be cool, man. My
Yeah.
daughter's going to be awesome.
I hear it.
Yeah.
She will be.
But she's in a season where she can't come live in the safe home, nor does she want to, but she needs our help. And so we've really been able to wrap around her and provide her and introduce her to all these different agencies and all these different services
Resources.
within the community that have been able to step up and help her learn how to stand on her own too,
As a single mom.
as a single mom. So it's really cool.
I love that. I encourage to if you're a believer out there and you're thinking about like how do I donate, and we hear this word tithe, like what am I supposed to tithe and how am I doing it? Look, that's between you and Jesus and how you want to do all that stuff. But I would tell you, if you're concerned about like where your money's going, look into these Be Generous programs. Look into Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Look into these places like A Bed for Me. Look in these places and these charities that maybe you've seen in ours, maybe in your own community. Because I think that what you will look in and peer into, you're going to see Christians that are the church.
Right.
They're the
That
hands
is
and
the
feet.
church.
Yeah.
That's the hands and feet. And don't be afraid to say, I can give my money to be generous. It doesn't always have to turn the lights on at the big worship.
No.
It can go to a place like Be
But I
Generous.
think that's why a lot of women feel like they have to have an abortion, right? They can't afford to have a
it's
child.
100%.
That's probably a very high percentage of why they do have abortions.
You've got rape. You've got
that
you've
stuff.
Got, you've got some
that's-
bad
I'm-
stuff in there too.
don't typically-
It's tough.
Yeah,
but
obviously that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
more understandable. But like when you're saying I can't afford to have a child.
I think socioeconomic is
that's
a big
it's
thing.
the main reason. That's
like who's
probably the
going to
main
come
reason.
alongside me and help
Yeah,
me do this?
exactly.
And you get
There's
all
a
that.
way to eliminate that, or
And
help
I
them
know
out.
as a believer, and look, I love all life, and I believe it starts at conception. I don't want any lie. Look, you can give me all the hate you want. I love you to death. I promise you, I love you to death, and I love your decision. So, and I'm there to stand with you, and I'm there to have the conversation with you. But it's just what I believe. But I know it's more convoluted than just, it's because it's easy to say, well, don't do that, or don't spread your legs.
Yeah.
Don't do all that. I mean, there's that women that come to that conclusion do not flippantly come to that conclusion. That's been my experience is that nobody flippantly comes to that conclusion.
Right.
And usually if you talk to someone after the fact, it's a painful decision that they come to.
Oh yeah, regrettable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a painful decision that they come to. And all I'm saying, again, not trying to land on a side or another,
Yeah.
is I just want to see our church, and I think you're finding places
Yeah.
that Be Generous, foster care, adoption. Those are the things we need to be peering into
Yep.
if we want to solve a problem. Those are things we need to be peering into. If the church wants to do is we need to
Yeah.
be able to come alongside folks better. And I love to hear what y'all are doing at that. For people listening who may feel called, and we've talked a little bit about this, but who feel called to foster, mentor, or serve in any way, but feel intimidated or unqualified, what encouragement would you give them to take that first step?
I'm going to say just do it. Just take that first step.
Oh.
Like if you feel like God is leading you to that, don't wait. Just
Jump in.
yeah, because your yes is
He'll
going to
work
look
it all
different
out.
than my yes. Juice's yes is going to look different than mine. It's all going to look
And
different.
like we were talking about earlier, it's like even if you can't, you don't have the home or the extra bed, maybe you find a foster care a person in the community, help them out,
Yeah.
take the kid for the day, buy a meal, clothes, take them shopping. Any of those things just help out.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to be a foster parent, but you can support their needs. In any shape, way, or form.
And we got to find a better way to figure out that support system.
Yeah. Well, and I think there is support system out there. I do. I
there
don't
probably
want, I don't
is,
want to
but-
dog on the church completely, because I do think there are churches that do.
Yeah.
I watched a video the other day that this pastor brought everybody in the audience up onto the podium that raised their hand if they were in the process of adopting or they were going through it. And so there was like, it's a big church. like 20 families came.
Dang.
That were all in the process of fostering, adopting, whatever it is, and bringing a child on. And he said, hey, I want you to go backstage because we're going to get your information and everything.
Perfect.
And they went to go backstage, and what he told everybody else is we're now going to pay their entire fees to get the adoption done. Because again, adoption,
Which is crazy. You have to pay a fee to adopt.
It should be better. We need to do a better job. I mean, is the lobbying at any of this stuff?
Well, the state of Florida, it's free if you adopt through the foster care system, and actually they get free state tuition to any Florida university. That child gets.
Really?
And there's health care that's provided and stipends that are provided.
Have you had any foster kids go through the colleges there? Have you
like
guys
the free tuition?
So
Yeah.
our Katie has one of the first girls has.
They have to be in the system when they age out, I believe, right?
Well, we
There's
keep
Probably
it-
some rules,
yeah.
different stuff. Yeah.
So there's
Again,
always
it's the
been a-
government doing it. I mean, it could be more convoluted.
We've been out of it for a couple of years, so
Yeah.
that's different.
But
things.
it was cool because Katie came back after she turned 18, after she graduated. She came back and lived with us for another year, and then we got her all set up to go to Troy. Or, well, she really did it all
We
on her
brought
own.
her
Okay.
to
Yeah.
the university
Yeah.
for her first day. And
That's
got her-
awesome.
Yeah.
Saw her dorm and everything.
But that was covered.
That's awesome.
Because
well,
she was
Troy's
in-
in Alabama, though, right?
It does, but they have the...
Oh, they have a
Campus.
reciprocal
Thank you.
sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, government, this is what our money should go to, all right? Stop sending it overseas. It needs to go to this.
Bring it on back.
All this
I
stuff, man.
definitely agree with you. The more we can do to help folks that are here, being the richest country in the world, it feels like. I mean, when you've got, we should be able to fill in the gaps a little bit better.
kidding.
But again, I love to hear stories about believers that are saying, "Hey, I'm going to even think outside the church walls." Right? What can we do to step up and be, like you said, the hands and feet of Jesus?
So,
Because that's. I mean, you guys both said it. That's how you met Jesus, was when you really
poured into
it, right? And opened your home up to these children. I just want to tell you, this has been a fascinating conversation, and I have enjoyed every minute of it. We've dived into. We even went a little political here, which we don't even
Well, I
do.
mean,
We got a little cray here. So again, I apologize to my viewers because I love you, and we believe. I've always firmly believed that God judges, the Holy Spirit convicts, and we love. And so that's where my heart falls on, and that I want this to be a safe space. And so if you driving down the road and you're yelling at me because you had a different feeling or I didn't land right or whatever, I just apologize because I certainly don't want to offend you, but I do want you to know that leaning into your faith and having these tough conversations is super important because we can stay divided or we can start talking to each other. That's the only way we figure things out, So I thank you for listening. But last question. I've been asking almost everybody this season. I've had a few that I forgot, and Juice will be like, "Dude, you forgot to ask the last question." So,
Well, the one that Matt was,
yeah, Matt didn't
He was
count.
already-
Matt didn't count. I had to go back to his 15-year-old
Yeah,
self. But all right, I'm going to ask you both. You can both answer independently if you don't mind. Excuse me. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self anything, what would you tell him? Knowing what you know now, if you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self anything, what would you tell them?
You're going to meet a girl named Casey. Make sure you marry her.
That's sweet. He just earned a bunch of bonus points there.
he already met her at 25.
That's a B money
He
answer.
already met
That's
her.
a B money answer right
yeah,
there.
it is a B money answer.
I think I would tell myself that I'm worthy. That I'm worthy.
So much better than Jason.
Yeah.
So much better. That's a really good thing that I'm worthy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yep.
That's really good. That's great, man. Thank you again so much for being here and saying yes. We've been trying to book this for several dates. You were like, a python hunting or something.
Oh,
one
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, I need to
I mean,
hear
that
this
was
about this too.
insane.
I
Did you
talked
get
to
any
you since you got
pythons,
back.
by the way?
We got a few. We got like 4, but they were little.
Oh, no.
So yeah, they do this python challenge every year down in the Everglades, where they try to eradicate the invasive species of pythons, and you can win money up to $10,000, $15,000. So we went down there over a weekend and just try to go at night, in the middle of the night.
Dude, I
3
definitely
a.m.,
will
just
go
looking.
next year.
Yeah,
So let me know.
It was cool. The mosquitoes
I will not
were a
go.
little crazy, but other than that, yeah, it was
Oh, man.
definitely
Yeah,
an
that sounds
interesting
awesome.
time. So
Did anybody manhandle them with your hand?
yeah,
right?
you just grab them.
That's
Yeah, you need a
right.
video guy.
That's disgusting.
Yes, we need a. Yeah, we didn't have like, hey, did you get a picture? No, we forgot. So,
Yeah.
we need definitely
Yeah.
a video guy.
Oh, Juice can
Yeah,
make
I'm
a
down.
great video.
I want to go.
I do not want to go. So, like, I'll stay at the campground as long as there's like a snake barrier around it or something.
We had an
I do not
Airbnb
want-
with a pool and everything, man.
Oh well, I could hang out at the pool while y'all go python.
Yeah, well,
hunting.
there's pythons in the pool though. I'm sure.
No, I'm out. I'm out. Well, again, I thank you so much for being here, and this is the part that I like to say. Listen up, kids. Listen up, kids. What an inspiring conversation, from fostering children to mentoring youth and leading with faith. Today's guest reminded us that the greatest impact often comes from serving behind the scenes. If you've ever felt called to step in but doubted yourself, let this be the encouragement you need. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. But what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.